The twin suns of Telerian Prime cast long shadows across the crystalline battlements of the royal citadel. Prince Kaler of the Varelli Dominion stood tall, his obsidian armor reflecting the golden glow of the morning light. His sapphire eyes scanned the horizon with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. Below him, the shuttle from Earth arrived, its smooth, metallic form out of place among the jagged elegance of Telerian's architecture. "So this is the best the humans can offer," Prince Dravik scoffed, standing beside his brother. "They look so fragile." Kaler didn't respond. He had heard the same sentiment echoed throughout the Varelli hierarchy. Humans were weak, emotionally volatile, and physically inferior. And yet, despite their supposed shortcomings, the Earth Federation had held its own against Varelli forces in the contested zones along the Orion Belt. The shuttle door hissed open, and the human delegation stepped out. Among them was Commander Lyra Hayes, the Earth Federation's envoy and a decorated soldier. She was average in height, clad in a sleek exosuit, her auburn hair tied in a tight braid. Her expression was unreadable as she approached the Varelli princes. "Commander Hayes," Kaler greeted, offering a curt nod. "Prince Kaler." "Prince Dravik." She returned the gesture. "I trust our presence isn't too disruptive." Dravik smirked. "It is a curiosity, nothing more." Lyra's eyes narrowed, but she remained silent. Kaler observed her keenly. There was a quiet strength in her posture, an alertness that contradicted the Varelli narrative of human frailty. The Earth delegation was in Telerian to negotiate a ceasefire after 3 years of intermittent conflict. The Varelli considered themselves galactic aristocracy, evolved from ancient warrior kings who once ruled 1,000 worlds. They saw humanity as upstarts, a primitive species that had stumbled into space with delusions of grandeur. Despite this, the humans had been effective. Their tactics were unpredictable, their alliances unorthodox. And Lyra Hayes had made a name for herself in the Battle of Carco's Ring, where her unit had destroyed a Varelli dreadnought with minimal losses. Over the following days, Kaler found himself watching Lyra. She was intelligent, composed, and relentless in her negotiations. More than once, she challenged Varelli assumptions without flinching. One evening, during a diplomatic banquet, Kaler approached her on the terrace. "Your people fight well for one so supposedly fragile," he said. She looked at him, sipping her drink. "Strength isn't just about muscle mass and bone density." "No, it's not," he agreed, somewhat surprised. "But war favors the strong. Only if the strong are smart enough not to underestimate the weak." Kaler studied her. "Is that a warning, Commander?" "A fact. And a mistake your people keep making." He chuckled, not out of mockery but respect. "Perhaps some of us are learning." 2 weeks into the negotiations, disaster struck. A rogue Varelli faction, opposed to any peace with humans, detonated an antimatter bomb in the lower district of Telerian City. Chaos ensued. The blast killed dozens and destabilized the power grid. Fires spread quickly through the organic crystal infrastructure. Lyra had been on her way to a late meeting with Kaler when the explosion hit. Her shuttle was knocked off course, crashing near the ruins of a collapsed spire. Reports came in fast. Commander Hayes was missing. The Varelli security forces deemed it too dangerous to mount a search until the fires were contained. Dravik scoffed at the idea of risking lives for a human. "Let her be a martyr. It may even give the peace talks some urgency." But Kaler refused. Against orders, he took a squad of his personal guard and descended into the burning ruins. The air was thick with ash, and the streets glowed red with heat and destruction. His armor filtered the toxins, but visibility was near zero. Hours passed. Drones scanned, but debris fields made it difficult. Then a signal, a weak transponder ping from a collapsed structure. Kaler ordered an excavation. They found her beneath a support beam, unconscious but alive. Her leg was shattered, her helmet cracked. Without hesitation, Kaler lifted her himself, shielding her from falling debris as they made their way back. She woke briefly in his arms. "You came back for me. You would have done the same," he said. In the days that followed, Lyra recovered in the Royal Infirmary. The news of Kaler's rescue effort spread quickly across both Virelli and human networks. For the first time, Virelli citizens saw a human not as an enemy, but as a comrade worth saving. Dravik was furious. "You risked your life for her. For optics." Kaler stared at his brother. "I risked my life for honor. You speak of strength, Dravik, but you know nothing of courage." The peace talks resumed, this time with a different tone. The attack had hardened the resolve of both parties to reach an agreement. Lyra, despite her injuries, returned to the negotiation table. "Why did you really come for me?" she asked Kaler one night after a session. He hesitated. "Because I realized the weakness we accuse your kind of having. It's not weakness at all. It is humanity. And it's something we have long forgotten." She smiled faintly. "Maybe our species aren't so different after all." 6 months later, the Treaty of Tellurian was signed, ending hostilities and opening a new era of cooperation. Joint task forces were established. Cultural exchanges blossomed. And among them, the most unlikely of alliances, Kaler and Lyra, grew into something more. Not all welcomed it. There were protests, political friction, and threats from remnants of the rogue faction. But neither of them backed down. At the formal ceremony marking the treaty's enactment, Kaler stood beside Lyra before the united banners of Earth and Tellurian. "Today," he said, his voice carrying across the square, "we prove that strength is not born of bloodlines or planets of origin, but of the bonds we choose to forge, even in the fires of war." Lyra stepped forward. "They believed we were weak. But we showed them that strength lies in standing for each other, even when everything says we shouldn't." As the crowd erupted in applause, Kaler turned to her and whispered, "You changed everything." She squeezed his hand. "No, we did." And so, against a backdrop of stars and centuries of distrust, an alien prince and a human soldier began to rewrite what strength truly meant, not as enemies but as allies. And in time, perhaps, as something even more.